The United States announced that they were not going to send troops. We know what American troops are on the Russian territory. These are invaders. This is how we will treat it, even if they appear on the territory of Ukraine, and they understand this. I said that Biden is a representative of the traditional political school, and this is proved. But besides Biden, there are plenty of other specialists in the field of Russian-American relations and in the field of strategic deterrence. Therefore, I don't think that everything is rushing so head-on here, but we are ready for this.
Our international correspondent, Diana Magne, is here with us now. So, Diana, talk us through the context of the way he mentioned the nuclear word again, and if that's new or a reiteration of existing policy or perspective.
So I think it is in line with Russia's strategic nuclear doctrine, which is that they will only use their nuclear weapons if the existence of the Russian state comes under attack. But I think the fact that he brings up Russia's nuclear arsenal really at every opportunity is quite significant. And here we heard him saying, we don't think that the US will deploy troops to Ukraine, but if they did, we would consider them an invading force. This was a very long interview, an hour and a half ahead of elections, which start on Friday, go on till Sunday. He always acts as though, it's not us who would ever use nuclear weapons, but if we come under attack. But the fact of the matter is nobody else is mentioning nuclear stuff. It's always Putin, and it's always a threat.
The other thing to talk about, Diana, while you're here, is that major drone attack on Russia. What do we know about that? What are the details?
So the last couple of days, we've seen quite a significant uptick in attacks from Ukraine onto Russian soil. So overnight, the Russian Ministry of Defense said there were 58 drones intercepted. The Ukrainian SBU security services have said they targeted 3 oil refineries to try and cut Russia's economic activity. And I think we're going to be seeing more of this ahead of the election. But yesterday, what was significant was it was a major armed incursion. We've seen this kind of thing before. But in that interview, Putin said 230 attackers were killed. We cannot verify that, obviously. But these are always Russian groups acting from Ukraine on behalf of Ukraine against Russia for the liberation of Russia. So wrap your head around that.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the other thing that we were talking a little bit earlier is this ally of Alexei Navalny, was attacked in Lithuania?
Yes, Leonid Volkov. He used to be the head of the Anti-Corruption Foundation. He's still a very significant sort of player amongst Navalny's aides. And I think it was only a matter of time that we would see an attack on one of those Navalny associates. And he was attacked with a hammer, tear gas. They broke his arm. A group calling themselves Male State, who are a sort of far-right patriotic extremist group in Russia, have claimed responsibility. But I think it goes to show that you are not safe if you are an enemy of Russia, wherever you are, whether that's Lithuania, whether it's further afield, that the long arm of the Russian law will come after you.
I wanted to talk about President Putin's sort of current status at home. The elections coming up this weekend are, I guess, a peg to ask the question, not that we think the outcome is in doubt at all. But how has the last couple of months gone for him? I mean, domestically, has he strengthened his grip more than, many months ago?
I think the surprising thing is that this war has solidified his support. And he has crushed all opposition, I mean, as we've seen from Navalny. And the fact that he, for this election, really doesn't want to see any kind of opposition. Boris Nadezhdin, who was running on an anti-war campaign, has not been allowed to run. He was sort of a systemic figure anyway. And I think the other thing to mention ahead of these elections is that Putin is feeling clearly quite confident. He says in that interview, no doubt that we are winning in Ukraine at the moment. So it's surprising that on the one hand, he seems buoyed by confidence vis-a-vis Ukraine. And on the other, he's still too scared to have any degree of opposition to him in country. But I think we will see quite significant turnout, quite significant support in these elections this weekend.
So genuine turnout and support for him?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of state employees bust in, as we always see. But yes, people feel that he is defending their interests. That's the extraordinary thing. When you go out onto the streets in Moscow or elsewhere, you get people parroting the Russian propaganda and saying he's doing what he must do to defend us. They really believe it. And when propaganda is that pervasive, it hits home.